Hey, what's going on, guys? It's Brain Bean here again. Recently Razer put out two really good gaming mice, some of the best ones on the market right now, the Basilisk and the Viper Ultimate. And I've had some people ask me what the differences are between the two, and with the hefty price point of around 160 to 170 bucks per mouse, realistically most people aren't going to be able to get their hands on both to test them out and see what the differences are. So the point of this video is to just help you guys out if you're on the fence about which one you may want to get, or you just want to know the differences between the two. Hopefully this video will clear all that up for you. So with that, let's check out some mice. Drop.com is a community-driven marketplace where people around the world are discovering new, diverse products for your interests. Drop has gear for audiophiles, people that love the outdoors, and mechanical keyboard enthusiasts, just to name a few. Of course, you guys know I go there for the keyboards. They've got their own Alt and Control branded boards, artisan keycaps, unique keyboards, and much more. So click the link in the description to check out Drop today. So I want to quickly start this video off by just looking at what these mice have in common first. That way we can get all of that stuff out of the way and then focus on those nitty-gritty details about what's different. Both mice use the same hyperspeed wireless connectivity and both come with the charging dock, or they can be purchased separate from the dock, although I don't know when this configuration is going to be available. Both get 5 hours of charge in just 10 minutes on the dock. Both use Razer's optical mouse switches and both use the new Focus Plus optical sensor. Both mice have PTFE mouse feet, and both can have up to 5 profiles saved directly onto the mouse, and they have a dedicated button on the underside of the mice for switching profiles. These profiles and all of their settings can be configured in Razer Synapse the exact same way for both mice. Also, if you guys want to learn more about any of the features that I just talked about that these mice have in common, you can check out both of the links I have down in the description for you on the full-length reviews for both of these mice. Starting with shape, the Viper has an ambidextrous design, and it's smaller and lighter than the Basilisk, which is a right-handed ergonomic mouse. The Viper's dimensions are 117 millimeters long, 71 millimeters wide by 38 millimeters at its highest point. The Viper comes in at just 74 grams in weight. Now, the Basilisk's dimensions are 130 millimeters long, 75 millimeters wide by 42 millimeters at its highest point. The Basilisk is significantly heavier than the Viper at 107 grams. Obviously, shape is one of the, if not the largest difference between these two mice, and hand size and grip styles should really be given a good amount of consideration when trying to choose between the two. The smaller, lighter Viper is ideal for fingertip grip or claw grip users with small to medium-sized hands. It allows for super fast flick shots with ease, but palming the Viper to me just doesn't really feel that great as it's a pretty flat mouse. The Basilisk's larger body makes it fantastic for palm grip users, as its ergonomic design really makes it fit your hand like a glove. Claw grip is also pretty doable on this mouse, but its length makes it rough for fingertip grip users unless you have pretty large hands. And while you do lose out on some speed with the Basilisk, I did feel like I gained a little bit of control with that extra weight when using it. Construction-wise, the Viper does have a little bit more matte finished feeling, while the Basilisk has a little bit more velvety, glossy finish to it. I definitely like the finish on the Viper more, though this mostly comes down to personal preference. Both mice have the same textured rubberized grips on both sides, with the Basilisk having the thumb rest that comes out so that you don't have any thumb drag. Now, I actually like this feature a lot. Looking at it, I didn't really think it was going to be that great. I actually kind of thought it was going to annoy me, but it helped me realize just how much I drag my thumb normally and how much it can affect your aim. Looking at the buttons, the Viper is an 8-button mouse, although this is including the profile buttons on the underside, so realistically it's just 7. And considering it's an ambidextrous mouse, the 2 thumb buttons on the opposite side are pretty tough to reach without some fancy finger jiu-jitsu moves, so I'd really consider it a 5-button mouse for more practical purposes. Mouse 1 and 2 are nice and solid feeling with very little wobble. The scroll wheel on the Viper is pretty recessed if you like that sort of thing, and the thumb buttons are small yet crisp. The Basilisk is a 12-button mouse, but again, just like the Viper, that's including the DPI button on the bottom, so it's actually 11 buttons. Mouse 1 and 2 are long and sharp for that G502 look, and because of this, they do have a little bit more wobble than the Viper does just because of that extra length, although Mouse 2 on the Basilisk has noticeably more wobble to it. The scroll on the Basilisk sticks out a great deal more than the Viper, which is a little too much for my taste, although this is because it's a tilt scroll, so it just allows you to be able to hit that scroll wheel on either side. Another cool feature of the Basilisk is the adjustable tactility of the scroll wheel. On the underside, there's a dial that you can use to change the tactility from none at all to a very snappy tactile scroll. Mouse 4 and 5 are a little bit more pronounced on the Basilisk. They have a glossy texture to them and they're easier to identify on the fly for sure, although they do have a little bit more pre-travel to them. The Basilisk also has 2 buttons behind the scroll wheel. Now these come bound to DPI by default, and the removable multifunction paddle makes a return on the Basilisk Ultimate as well. Now you can use this paddle as a DPI clutch or a sniper button, or just bind it as an extra key. Personally, I don't typically use it, but it's always nice to have options. When it comes to lighting, there's really not too much to say about the Viper. You get the classic Razer logo in the grip, and that's about it. The Basilisk has 14 lighting zones, the grip, the scroll wheel, and the light strips located under mouse 1 and 2, but what's interesting here is that the Viper has a max battery life of 70 hours, while the Basilisk has a max battery life of 100 hours, although these are without RGB. Either way, even if you just put these mice on the charger, even just in between matches or when you get up to go get a drink or something like that, you will not run out of battery. So where does that leave us? Well, there's really only a $10 difference between the two mice, and there's a lot of personal stuff to consider when really making a decision, like play style, grip choice, and aesthetic preferences. I find the Viper's great for fast, snappy gameplay, and the ambidextrous design and small shape make it more accessible to a variety of different sized humans. Some downsides to the Viper are that it has less buttons and a much less flashy design. The Basilisk design definitely feels more comfortable in the hand than the Viper does, but its weight and size make it a little bit less nimble than the Viper. It's definitely got more in the RGB department, and it has plenty more buttons. For me, the Basilisk is a great all-arounder, and it would be a more ideal choice for gamers who play a variety of styles, and in particular, things that don't necessarily require a lot of twitchy gameplay like MMOs or MOBAs. I was still able to play games like Apex with it well enough, but I found myself missing the quick, snappy feel of the Viper in those situations. For me personally though, I do like the Viper much more. On mice, I don't typically use more than the classic 5 buttons anyways, and I don't really prioritize RGB over feel. So after I finished both reviews of these mice, I went back and forth between the two, really trying to decide which one I wanted to main. And ultimately what decided it for me was in between every Apex Legends match I was playing, I would swap out the mice, and I found that really I just wanted to use the Viper most of the time, so that's what helped narrow it down for me. So to wrap it all up, guys, I mean, it does largely come down to personal preference. I do hope that this video helps narrow it down for you and kind of highlight some of the things that you may like or not like about certain mice. And I think when you really just kind of break down what your play style is, like the grip style that you prefer, or maybe even the types of games that you play, these different things will help kind of make the choice a little bit more clear for you. I mean, you really can't go wrong either way. From myself to tons of other reviewers all across the internet, both of these mice are very highly reviewed, so you really can't go wrong either way. But anyways, guys, I hope you enjoyed this video. You can give it a like to show your support. And of course, if you're new here on the channel, hit that sub button, hit that bell button so you don't miss out on any of my videos. But as always, guys, thank you so much for watching, and I will see you in the next one.